Just a preamble to our next presenter. Boy, our first presenter today is Matt Buckley. Matt is a former decorated Navy fighter pilot. He turned options trader, and he helped run one of the largest Wall Street options trading firms in the world and is currently the CEO of Top Gun Options. Matt is also heavily involved with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and is also the founder of the Top Gun Fighter Foundation, whose mission is to help veterans with mental and emotional instabilities to recover and adapt to civilian life. On this Veterans Day, I am more than proud to have Matt kicking things off for us. Hey there, Matt. Thank you so much for your service. How you doing today?
Uh-oh, you're muted still. Let's get him unmuted.
How about now?
There he is.
There you go.
I'm fantastic, my brother. Thanks for having me. How you all doing?
We're doing great, Matt, and it really is great to have you here with us this morning.
Very fired up. It's a great day. Like you said, thank you to all my fellow veterans who served, and also obviously the folks that are currently out there on the tip of the spear, day, night, good weather, bad weather, and some pretty bad conditions, making sure we can do events like this. So yeah, very excited.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, at this point in time, if you can grab the screen share, we're going to turn things over to you, my friend.
You got it. And there we go. Sharon.
Okay, big time. We see your charts.
Okay, great. And when do you want me to knock it off?
You have got, let's say you've got about 50 minutes.
Okay, perfect. All right, folks. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and get airborne. Real quick, just a reminder, I'm not a registered investment advisor or broker dealer. We're going to be talking about some training and stuff like that. If you got any questions or concerns or, oh, by the ways, make sure you talk to somebody a heck of a lot smarter than I am if you're ever going to put some real capital at risk. So Raleigh invited me to this, which is very timely about a week after the election. We're still in the middle of some very interesting developments. But stock and the topic I'm going to talk about today, it really doesn't matter who's in the White House. I mean, this stock is just out of control. And it's going to be shocking to you because this is the only stock you need to own. Now, that's right out of the gate. I'm probably blowing the doors off of some folks. But this stock I affectionately call the Death Star. Why do I call it the Death Star? Well, you got Star Wars nerds like me. I got the two boys and a little girl. If you're a Star Wars fan, you know the Death Star was created by the evil empire, and you know to defeat the rebels. Rebels blew it up a little bit, so it was damaged, but it came through there and became even bigger. That's what this stock is. It is the Death Star. Real quick, before we get into any sort of trading, I have to disclose what's in my personal accounts. I got some Apple, Microsoft. I got Amazon. I got short JP Morgan with a couple bear call spreads. I'm short volatility, which has been fantastic for the past week. And yesterday, or actually yesterday or 2 days ago, when Carnival Cruise Lines popped on vaccine news, I sold a bear call spread on that that's already up 67% in a day. So beautiful trades. Okay, real quick. So as Raleigh said, I used to fly the F-18 for the United States Navy. So let's kick off. I'm going to do my own little quiz here. I'm going to give you two choices. Which fighter aircraft, choice A or choice B, would you rather fly? So I'm going to give you a second to take that in. I got to be honest with you. Looking at this cockpit right here gives me agita. My heart rate's going up. This is an F4 Phantom, folks. Look at that. Look at all of those, what we call steam gauges. This aircraft, the pilot would spend a lot of time, what we call heads down, looking at all this stuff instead of what? Eyeballs out, looking for surface air missiles, enemy MiGs, AAA, anti-aircraft artillery. As a matter of fact, this aircraft was so labor intensive, they threw another dude in the back just to run the radar and to help the pilot out. So this is the F4 Phantom. Okay, so people are answering already. And let me show you choice B, the F-35. Folks, that is the Joint Strike Fighter cockpit, the F-35 Lightning II. Not one steam gauge in that cockpit. Look at that, 2 flat panel displays. We call this jet the Wonder Woman jet. A little embarrassed to say I watched Wonder Woman growing up, but remember she had the invisible jet Well, this jet's invisible. It's invisible to radar, and the jet is literally invisible. If you've ever seen an F-35 pilot's helmet, they actually look like Darth Vader, big visors, and when they look down, they actually look through the cockpit. They don't see this stuff, right? They see the ground. There's so many sensors around the aircraft. So this is the F-35. The jet actually is smart enough to limit what information it displays to the pilot at different portions of the flight. Why are they going to show you all this electrical, fuel, and hydraulic stuff if everything's fine? Why are we taking up brain matter of the pilot if that's not important? Matter of fact, if you look out with an F-35 helmet, it'll display threats, a big red bubble around a surface air missile, like don't go in there. So clearly, folks, F-4 Phantom, great airplane, looked good, just a meaty airplane. Unfortunately, this is where you want to be, a simplified jet. So at Top Gun Options, I like to say that trading is a form of combat, right? Think about it. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to get their ass handed to them. Which side do you want to be on of that, okay? So whether it's combat or trading, a lot of you might think they're both complex. Combat's complex and so is trading. How do you battle complexity? With simplicity, and that's what we're going to do today. So make sure you silence your electronic nicotine, turn the distractions off, because you've never heard what I'm about to tell you. I guarantee you, okay? So by the end of this brief, I'm going to give you a quick up-to-date intelligence brief. I mean, I just saw on Twitter that Judicial Watch has filed a lawsuit. So you ready for this? 29 states, in 29 states and 256 counties. In those 256 counties, they have more votes than registered voters. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or you just came from Mars. That's not right. So let me give you an up-to-date intelligence brief since we are talking about presidential processes. I'm going to show you the only stock you need to own, and I'm going to show you a good substitute to trade since this stock ain't cheap. So as Raleigh said, Matthew Buckley Whiz flew the Hornet, graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, which many of you know as Top Gun, where I was an adversary pilot. I was a bad guy. I was a good bad guy, if you follow what I'm saying. So the jets I flew were painted like enemy MiGs, and I flew bad guy tactics against our good guys to get them prepared to go overseas, and also some combat sorties over southern Iraq in support of Operation Southern Watch. What's this have to do with trading? Everything, folks. When I was a young fighter pilot learning how to fly and fight an aircraft, I wanted to invest. I mean, you don't join the Navy to get rich, folks, right? You join the Navy to serve your country. But I was always interested in finance. So I remember driving down to Key West Naval Air Station. I'm going to date myself, 1991. And I remember sending from my first paycheck, it was like $25 to the USAA Aggressive Growth Fund, right? So in the background, as I was flying fighter jets, I started applying everything I was learning as a fighter pilot to my trading. Having a strategy, implementing tactics, contingency planning, knowing when to get out of a good or bad situation before it got worse, following a checklist, not making emotional decisions in the cockpit, making rational ones based on what? Data. So I applied this to my trading, and it worked extremely well. Matter of fact, it worked so well that when I was actually flying F-18s for the reserves and had a very brief airline career, September 11th, another story for a beer, I popped up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage firms on the face of the planet. Check this out. You see those big windows right here, big, beautiful windows? This obviously, if you know Chicago, this is the Chicago Board of Trade. And this was our trading floor right there. We were the largest volatility arbitrage firm on the face of the planet. And I had an absolute blast. I helped with a hedge fund when I was there. I helped build the retail brokerage that some of you might have used called Options House. And just, it was a lot of fun. So I like to, if you've seen the movie Trading Places, I was essentially Valentine, right? I was Eddie Murphy, little old retail trader going up to the big leagues. And I thought, oh my God, the smart money. I can be honest with you, man. Smart money ain't that smart. I'm one of the only people on the face of this planet that called the COVID crash, market crash to the day and made millionaires at Top Gun Options. predicted the Trump victory last time at the market rally as Wall Street got it wrong, and predicted the Trump victory this time, which technically he most likely won election night, but we're just going to keep counting ballots until the other dude wins. Anyway, so I had a blast. I was the managing director of strategy, and I was also the founder and CEO of the Options News Network, ONN.TV, kind of the CNBC for options. If you watch CNBC, John and Pete, great Americans, good dudes, bigger than me, can kick my ass, so I'm going to say nice things about them. But I know John and Pete from my time in Chicago. They try and do their best talking about options on CNBC. It's just not their thing, CNBC. So we started the Options News Network, 24/7 option stuff, helping retail traders such as yourself with a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on. As Raleigh alluded to, I do some charity work down here in South Florida on the Broward Sheriff's Advisory Council. Unfortunately, I lost a sister to a drunk driver when she was a freshman in college at Villanova University. So I work with MAD, very involved with MAD. And then I also started my own foundation this year, Top Gun Fighter Foundation, to try and prevent veteran suicide. This is shocking. One veteran an hour kills themselves. 24 to 26 veterans per day kill themselves. Since 2008, we have lost more veterans due to suicide than we have in combat. That's got to stop, folks. Okay, here we go. Let's get airborne. You ready for this? This is going to be shocking, or it isn't, which is kind of weird to say, but you ready? Wall Street is lying to you. Wall Street's been lying to you since day one of investing. You ready? How many of you have heard this? Don't put all your eggs into one basket, right? How many of you've heard that? That's page 1 of your investing manual. Don't put all your eggs into one basket, right? Folks, good. Yeah, everybody's kind of giving me a, thing right here. So why diversification is important in investing. You must diversify. The importance of diversification, 5 tips for diversifying your portfolio, all that type of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. Okay? Diversification is for people who don't know what they're doing, right? This guy's been lying to you. Why have you been told to diversify? Folks, a stockbroker, a yacht broker, a real estate broker, ladies and gentlemen, when you use the term broker, what also, you should put an equal sign next to it and also say what? Commissions. Folks, if you've seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street or, Boiler Room or Wall Street with Gordon Gekko, how many times have you seen that scene where the guy screams to the trading floor, all right, open up your phone books, call the little old ladies in tennis shoes and tell them to get into this stock right now. Well, we just told them yesterday to get into this one. Yeah, that one's old. Get them into this one. Churn. It's called churn. They would churn your account. Why? Cha-ching, every time you trade or get into a new name or open or close, they make money. And now they also make money on payment for order flow. Okay? So that dude, here's a nicer way to say it. Diversification is a protection against ignorance. It makes very little sense for those who know what they're doing. Why would you diversify, folks? Because you don't know what you're doing, or you're listening to somebody who's getting paid because you're diversifying. The only stock you need to own for the rest of your life is Amazon. That's it. The only stock you need to own for the rest of your life. Don't listen to me. I'm a political science Navy guy. Let's look at pictures. Look at that. I need to update this after their last earnings. I think after their last earnings, this chart does this. I've never seen anything like this. Look at their annual revenue growth. Average of 30%. I've never seen this before in my life. This is insanity. Amazon literally prints money. Okay? Take a look at their annual revenue by segment. I remember I've been trading Amazon since like almost day one. AWS, everybody know what AWS is? It's essentially Microsoft. It's Amazon Web Services. Years ago, it wasn't even thought of. Then they came out with it. They didn't even think it would be a profit generator. Now look at it. Look at their international growth, their North American, folks, it's insane. Again, the math to me doesn't work with Amazon. It doesn't make sense, which is great. Now, let's talk about something that Jeff Bezos, this is the other reason I love Amazon. Look at how much profit that they make. you might be shocked. Remember that PE, this isn't your father and mother stock market, folks. PE died years ago. Jeff Bezos has said what? He's actually upset about this down here. What do I mean? Jeff Bezos does not want to see any profit. What do I mean? He has said, if I make $1, I'm not giving that dollar back to the shareholder. He's never going to give a dividend, and he's never going to do a stock split. He's like, if I make $1, I'm going to take that buck and go do something with it. Buy a competitor, innovate, put somebody else out of business. I love that mindset. He's told shareholders, don't expect to ever make a dime at Amazon, which is insane, but he's right. If I'm going to make money, I'm going to use it to do cooler things. I love that mindset. How about Amazon Prime Day this year? I think it was a $17 billion event? I think the 30 is the magic number. I think with Amazon, they beat last year's Prime Day by 30%. It's insane. So, but, and I'm not going to read off current case studies, but let's just say we've literally got people making 6 figures just trading Amazon. These are current members here, even people with small accounts. Let's at least listen to Kevin. Cumulative Amazon gains net out to 12,673, which is nicer than it seems because since I started, $6,000 in the hole before following with his discipline correctly. Dennis up 145 grand. Sam Parmar up 80. Great stuff. Now, before I sit here and tout how great just owning Amazon would be, we as a fighter pilot, as an options trader, I got to brief you on the threats. What are the risks to just trading one name? Anybody in this room ever hear of the company called Lehman Brothers? How many of you raise your hand if you've heard of Bear Stearns? Jim Cramer's heard of Bear Stearns. Everybody remember Jim Cramer? He looked like Khrushchev at the UN. Bald dude with his banging his shoe on the table, yelling about Bear Stearns is this, at the height of the financial crisis. Jim Cramer said Bear Stearns was a steal at $70. 2 days later, it was zero. Jeff, not interested in listening to BS far-right propaganda. Bye-bye. Sorry to hear about your sister. See you, fellow veteran. Thanks for serving so long. Okay, Jim or Jeff, I appreciate it. It's pretty funny how when you tell somebody your opinion, one side of the political spectrum yells in your face that they don't want to hear it. I listen to everything. I listen to people I don't agree with. I listen to people that I agree with. I formulate my own. So if you're going to bail out of a webinar because of somebody's opinion, man, I'll show you case studies from current members who are like, I don't like the dude's politics. He prints money. So sorry to lose you, Jeff, but that's insane. A fellow veteran who fought for freedom of speech, the one side of the political spectrum is now compiling lists of people that they didn't agree with. That's kind of nuts. Okay, so Bear Stearns, $70. 2 days later, it was at zero. How about pets.com? Somebody just wrote Enron in the chat box. Folks, so the graveyard of people and companies whose stock has gone to zero is huge. I could spend the rest of the time we're together doing what? Talking about companies who've gone to zero. But do you see a common theme with a lot of these companies? Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, pets.com, Enron. What do they all have in common? They didn't own anything, folks. Enron was a middleman of electricity. I don't even think they owned the building they were in. Pets.com owned a stinky sock puppet and a URL, a domain name. Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns owned air, contracts, pieces that they didn't own anything. I don't even think Lehman Brothers owned the sign that was taken down. So stocks, ladies and gentlemen, can go to zero. But the main reason is because these companies didn't own anything, right? What does Amazon own? Everything, folks. It owns everything. Okay? So this is, it's comical. Here's another potential threat. So for the dude who dropped out because I had something he didn't like to hear, this is also another threat to Amazon. Do you remember this guy woke up 3 years ago? Or maybe he didn't go to bed, depends on who you listen to. He grabbed his phone and started ripping Jeff Bezos apart, the Washington Post apart, and Amazon because it was destroying the U.S. Postal Service. He did this about 6 months ago too. Grabbed his cell phone, tweeted, and ripped apart Amazon for being a monopoly. So he's also, or if he's out of office here soon, which apparently half of you like and half of you don't like, that's what makes America, Amazon can still face this political threats, man. The EU yesterday, I need to add this headline, the EU added they're filing suit against them for some other deceptive practices. So folks, there are antitrust concerns about Amazon. It's a behemoth. But ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. Right now, and let me give you full disclosure, I used to fly years ago for FedEx. I couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand the night flying, and it just, I didn't like it. But I had still buddies at FedEx, especially in corporate. And a buddy of mine called me like, was it 5-6 years ago, and from corporate. He said, "Hey man, I just heard from GE Aircraft, and it sounds like Jeff Bezos is, buying aircraft. He's leasing 5 aircrafts. So if, let me take some time to read this type of stuff, folks. This is why the country is in the situation it's in. Jim, you need to correct your QAnon lie. I don't even know what that crap is. You are a disgrace to vets everywhere. You throw a political IED and run. You are a threat to democracy." There you go, folks. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate the kind words. I buried 19 fellow fighter pilots in my career. I've been to more memorial services than I care to remember, and you just called me a threat to democracy. That's fantastic. My son is a 20-year-old going to fly for the Marine Corps. My middle son is going to go to the United States Naval Academy and wants to fly for the Navy. I'm a threat to democracy. This is fantastic, folks. I appreciate all this. Appreciate that, Jim. You're a great American. Don't agree with you, Jim, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. That's pretty classy, man. I appreciate it. But anyway, folks, Amazon is diversified. Amazon Air, folks, is its own UPS and FedEx. I did consulting a couple of years ago down in Miami at an Amazon fulfillment center. The place was bigger than an aircraft carrier. Amazon owns stuff, okay? So again, if they broke up Amazon, ladies and gentlemen, its parts would be bigger. AWS would be Microsoft. So if you break it up, you actually would create like individual monopolies instead of a big one. And remember, I'm old enough to remember Standard Oil, Microsoft, IBM, AT&T. Remember, if Uncle Sam gets involved and starts poking around like, hey, we think you're too big, it takes anywhere from 5 to 10, I think with AT&T, it was like 15 years before that stuff was kind of resolved. And I'm fairly certain the richest man in the world has enough money in his couch to hire enough attorneys to fight that, right? So it's okay, folks. Don't worry about it. I mean, I just had to read that to share with you, what I have to see in the chat box. People calling me, I'm a threat to democracy. That's fantastic. A guy who served his country for 15 years. On that note, I'm going to tell you that I wear 2 suits at Top Gun Options. I wear a flight suit. I'm going to tell you how I feel as an American. If you don't like my opinion, fine. But I also am going to throw on a $10,000 Armani and make money. Doesn't matter how I feel or what my beliefs are. I'm going to print money because of it, folks. Okay? So sometimes I'll tell you something about a trade. I think Amazon being a monopoly is bad. I think Jeff Bezos being the richest man in the world, not paying his employees a pretty good living wage is a disgrace. Initially, at the beginning of the COVID thing, all these Amazon employees were like, we don't even have masks. I thought it was awful. And then I'll put on my Gordon Gekko suit and go, I think that's great. Pay him $1. Fire all your Amazon employees and replace them with a robot. I need to make money as a shareholder. So I'm not bipolar, but I'm going to tell you how I feel in my flight suit, and then I'm going to tell you how we're going to make money off it. Okay, does that make sense? All right, now that I talked about the risks of trading just a single stock, let's talk about the benefits, folks. Guess what? If you just trade Amazon, you're just trading that same name and you potentially profit no matter what direction it goes. If Amazon's going up, down, or sideways, right? Isn't that awesome? So you stay focused just on the news and events that impact Amazon instead of many stocks and ETFs, right? And you become an expert in Amazon, reducing time spent on other positions. I have a buddy who's an Apple market maker, and I'm not joking when I say this. I don't think the dude knows what the stock market is. I don't think he knows what the volatility index. He doesn't care. He eats, breathes, sleeps Apple. That's all he trades. He doesn't, and I'm going to throw one of my buddies under the bus down here in Boca. He's your stereotypical Boca Raton, Florida plastic surgeon. Great American, but he found out about Top Gun options. Hey, dude, meet me at Starbucks. Can you help me out? This was 2 years ago. And he's like, and he's busy. I mean, he's 8-10-hour days, surgery, office hours. He's like, dude, can you take a look at my portfolio? So we go to Starbucks. He boots up his computer and he turns it around and shows me his brokerage platform. Thank God he was a doctor, because I passed out and I like hit my head on the floor. I'm like, you ready for this? He had 33 positions. I'm not kidding. And he tried to stumble through telling me I think this one's a pot stock. I don't even know what that one is. Okay, this one, I'm getting my rear end handed to me. I'm down a lot, but maybe if it comes up, I'll get out. Anyway, I'm like, Doc, stop talking. I'm like, holy crap, man, you have got to I do this for a living. I manage 4 portfolios at Top Gun Options, including this one, Solo Amazon. I do this for a living, and 5 to 10 names, folks, is a lot. We had a research desk at my Chicago trading firm where one analyst covered like one company. They eat it, breathe it, sleep it. And sometimes they'd still get it wrong. Here's my earnings prediction, and completely wrong. So folks, please, you've got to look at the benefits of trading just one name. Do you want to be this? Does your brokerage platform look like that, or do you want to trade like this? That's the answer. Now, if you're sitting here going, you know what, Wiz, I think this is great, but whoever briefed, I have to diversify when it came to investing, it's stuck in my brain. Guess what we also trade in this portfolio? The XLY. Folks, the XLY is an ETF. It's an exchange traded fund. So Amazon is what, $3,200 right now? The XLY is like a $130 ETF. Why would I trade XLY? Folks, what's the number one holding of this ETF? Amazon. About a quarter of the XLY is Amazon. So it's like, it's Amazon light, right? If you can't buy some options contracts on Amazon, we also trade XLY. We put a bear call spread on Monday on the XLY. Now, if you love this idea, like, hey, I get some Amazon, but I also get diversification, look at what else is in here. Home Depot, McDonald's, Nike, Lowe's, Starbucks, Target, Booking, TJX, Dollar General. There, ladies and gentlemen, is your diversification. Isn't that awesome? So either you're going to, in this service, trade Amazon, or you're going to trade XLY. Folks, I appreciate it. It's okay. It's fun. About 90 comments about ignore those folks. You're a great American. Thank you for your service. I appreciate it, but I do need to point out that that's the type of stuff I get thrown. How do we target Amazon and XLY for max profit? And by the way, folks, I need some right-wing freak. I can't. Donald Trump makes my skin crawl. I want to take his cell phone and throw it in a river. I ripped Donald Trump a new one. I told you this. I'll give you access to the recording. January 22nd, when he was on CNBC in Davos, and what's his name? The CNBC host is like, hey, what's this thing in China? And I had buddies in the National Command Authority who were telling me what the president was being told. And he's like, this is a shit show, and it's gonna, Donald Trump, everything's fine. Why'd you even ask me this question? I trust Xi. Nobody trusts Xi better than me. Believe me, huge trust. Why are you even asking me this? We got it under control. I looked into this camera. We were in a Wednesday accelerated retirement brief, and I said, get out. I said, get in the cash, get long volatility, buy puts on the S&P 500. He's lying. So maybe if those people had stuck around and listened to me, I took a flamethrower to the dude. I'm writing a book on it called The COVID Crash. So anyway, How do we target Amazon and XLY from I'm an equal opportunity flamethrower guy, man. If you're doing wrong and you're not doing right, you're going to hear about it from me. Step one, I'm going to teach you how to establish what we call a base position. Veterans Day, we're going to go establish a beachhead. I'm going to show you in about 1 minute my current Amazon position. It's called a synthetic stock. Homie ain't got enough cash to buy 100 shares of Amazon. With options, you can be synthetically long the stock. It's just like Amazon goes up $100 today, you go up 100, but you're using options. You don't have to buy the stock. Or we do a long call diagonal, right, with protective puts. Folks, I'm a fighter pilot, man. I never jumped in my F-18 and said, you know what, folks, or chief, pull the ejection seat out of the aircraft. I'm not going to die today, man. Come on. I'm going to, I'm awesome. Put extra, put 800 pounds of gas in the jet instead of the ejection seat. Come on. What am I, stupid? So every position that I'm going to place on has what we call a protective put. It's going to protect our position. I'm not that good, folks, right? As my wife would say, he loves himself too much to die. There's some truth to that. So step two, after we establish our synthetic long all the way out into the future, step two, we trade the front month. What's the front month? Folks, you're sitting in it. What is it? November, December, January. Those are the front months. So we're going to have a bullish position all the way out into the future and then trade these front months. Amazon's going up or XLY. We'll do some bullish spreads or buy some calls. Amazon's going down. We'll do some bearish spreads, sell some front month calls. And if it's going sideways, we can do a tactic that is called an iron condor. Okay. All right. So let me do that. Let's go switch over to my brokerage platform because men lie, numbers don't. Let me resume here. Okay. So let's just take a look at Amazon. This is sad to say. The COVID crash and this whole COVID thing, folks, was the best thing to ever happen to Amazon. I saw a report the other day that like 75% of Christmas this year will be online. People, the Boca Raton Mall used to be packed, right? It's a ghost town. And look at this. Look at what happened. Here's January. Here's Q4 earnings in January of this year. Amazon gapped up because it bought Christmas. What happened? Everything's great. Everything's great. And Wiz said the market's going to crash. What did Amazon do? It kind of obviously gave some back, and then it's never looked back. It's just gone. Okay. So unfortunately. So wearing my flight suit, COVID crash, awful. It's disgusting, blah, blah, blah. Being Gordon Gekko, best thing that ever happened to Amazon. I actually think when the country reopens, we should close Amazon, Target, and Home Depot and Costco for 3 months to let our small businesses in this country get back on their feet. That's my personal opinion. That's in my flight suit. Being Gordon Gekko, I don't care. Amazon. Oh, you ready for this? I got this wrong. A year ago, I said Amazon would be $3,000 by my birthday. This year. When's my birthday? I'm glad you asked. December 31st. I'm a New Year's baby. I was wrong. I was off by like 4 months, man. Amazon hit 3,000 back in July. Man, I was wrong. You ready for this? Let me make another prediction. By my birthday, this year, not next, Amazon will be a $4,000 stock. You write that down. Now, let me show, this is my personal account, folks. Let me show you my current Amazon position. It's a synthetic covered call, right? I got about $166,000 worth of Amazon right there. Let me tell you what this position is, and I'm going to show you how to do this, right? Let me roarings here. Here's what, and let me break open the position and it's not complex. If you don't know what an option is or a call or a put, don't worry about it. Top Gun Options, we have building block training and programs from this is a call, this is a put, all the way up to this tactic. What I did is I hopped in my Joint Strike Fighter, right? In theory. And in the world of options, folks, look at what you can do. So this is called an options chain. I flew all the way out to January of 2020. You see this expiration out here? What is how many days out in the future is that? That is clear these. Let me get rid of the front month. Look at that, 800 days into the future. So with this trade, and I'm going to show you how to do this in our next solo Amazon brief, I hopped and went all the way out to January of 2023 and did what we call synthetic stock. Why did I fly all the way out into the future? I flew all the way out into the future to get, you ready for this? You can write this one down. By January of 2023, Amazon is a $6,000 stock. Remember, Jeff Bezos has said he will never split the stock when he's alive. Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate that. So what did I do? Let me just tell you real quick. So synthetic stock, how's my time looking? Take glasses off to look at the clock and realize you can't see the clock. All right, we got 14 minutes. So synthetic stock, you're not a shareholder, right? Remember in the old days, you actually got shares. I remember getting like shares of American Express. I put them like in a shoebox or something like that. But synthetic stock means you're not an actual shareholder. You don't get two things when you do this tactic called synthetic stock. You know what you don't get? A dividend, because you're not a shareholder. I already told you Jeff Bezos is like, dividends are for chumps. I'm going to take that money and do something with it. And you also don't get to vote since you're not a shareholder. And Jeff Bezos and his ex-wife, your vote means nothing. When I'm a shareholder of a company, if you're a shareholder of a company, remember you get in the mail like once a year, like a big packet, like vote for this. Your vote doesn't count. Unlike America, one person, one vote, or in Chicago, vote early, often, and when you're dead. So synthetic stock, you don't go those two things, the vote and dividend. Who cares? So with Amazon, with synthetic stock, if you buy a call, if you know this options basics, when you buy a call, you're bullish. You think something's going to go up. You can also sell a put because you think something's going to go up. So when you buy a call and sell a put with the same strike and same expiration, you create synthetic stock. Okay. Now look at what I did for the front. So you see this, let's look at this. It currently has 4 legs. And look at this, folks. There are the short puts, and here are the long calls. Okay, the 3190 Jan 23, 3190 Jan 23. I bought calls and sold puts with the same strike, and that creates synthetic stock. Now, what did I do down here? I bought disaster puts. What's why a protected put? What would be a disaster? Well, guess what Wall Street kind of says is a disaster? Down 20%. When something goes down 20%, what do we say it is? We say it's in bear market territory, right? So I just bought puts that are 20% under what Amazon was on the day that I did this trade. Okay, that makes me sleep better at night. Do I think Amazon's going to go down 20% between now and Jan 2023? Nope. Can it? Yeah. God forbid. If you want to really get geopolitical, I believe in the next 4 years that China is going to invade Taiwan. Market ain't going to like that, right? So there's a lot of geopolitical stuff out there. Now, what did I do for this week? Look what I did in the front month. I sold out to Friday's November. Oh, Friday the 13th. Friday is November 13th. What did I do? I sold some 3150 calls, right? That's me saying I don't think Amazon's above 3150 by Friday. What's that do? I'm bringing in potentially, if Amazon stays below 3150 by Friday, I make $7,600, and there's a 65% probability of me doing that. So essentially, it's a collar, it's a covered call, synthetic covered call. This is nice, solid base hits. And I have 2 personal accounts. Over on this other computer, I actually have a bear call spread out to Friday on XLY. So just in this service, we do a solo Amazon every Monday at 2. In this service, I have 2 trades. That's a little busy, right? So again, if you're flying around with that F4 cockpit and a very busy brokerage account, I mean, look at this. This is a lot going on here. I'm bearish on volatility with VXX. This expires Friday. That's $6,300. I sold the other day with the vaccine news. Why did the banks rally? You want to get political? If Joe Biden is confirmed as the winner guess what's going to happen? A Secretary of the Treasury, Elizabeth Warren, she's going to get bearish on the banks. There's another free couple trades for you. I sold a bear call spread on the vaccine news because everything went up. If Joe Biden and the Democrats take the Senate, these Wall Street banks will get hammered. Okay, so and then I got some Apple. I got what do I have here? I got 6,000 shares of Apple. Yeah, I got a lot of Apple in this portfolio. This is 700. I almost got $750,000 in Apple. And this morning, sold a bear call spread out to Friday, which might make $4,700. So that's a lot for me, folks. Even just having one Amazon trade and an XLY over here is a lot of work. So simplify your trading cockpit. That's kind of the gist of it here. And again, Amazon, folks, is your diversification. Amazon Air. Take a look outside your window, man. I see more little blue trucks than I do brown or FedEx. It's the Death Star, folks. I can't say it enough, right? But yeah, I agree with that. Trump has absolutely not been a prophet. Have I ever been wrong? I'm wrong on a daily basis, man. I am wrong all the time. Get over it. To steal a whole election is a real treat. Actually, the end of democracy. If candidates win because of massive cheat or fraud, that is not acceptable at all for the U.S. or the rest of the world. I absolutely agree, folks. That's all I'm asking for, man, is a fair election. And unlike other people who for 4 years scream and froth at the mouth, not my president, and thus on January 20th, whoever is sworn in will be my president. And I will support that man and all of his efforts. I'm an American, man. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I lean more libertarian, to be honest with you. So whoever wins is my president. Unlike for the past 4 years, people frothing at the mouth that he wasn't. Could not stand Barack Obama. He was my president. Yeah, I know, Raleigh. That's why I'm reading some of these. If you could see the chat, and I'm glad you guys can't see each other's chat because you guys would be fighting like cats and dogs. That's just not. Can we all agree to be Americans, man? One side right now is making lists of who supported the president, and one side is saying, "Hey, man, whoever wins is the actual president." So let's move on real quick. So Solo Amazon, folks, is our newest live trading service. My live trade briefs, the other four portfolios that I manage are about $167 a month. Well, guess what? This ain't. Solo Amazon is only $97. Why? It's Solo. I'm not trading Apple, Microsoft, all these other names. I'm just trading Amazon and XLY, obviously. So it's a lot cheaper than our regular services. This is a good way to, I got to be honest with you, I went out to dinner in Fort Lauderdale the other night, and I think 2 drinks that I bought was about $100. So for the cost of about 2 drinks in Fort Lauderdale, you can get access to this service. We are printing money in the Solo Amazon portfolio year to date in the account that I manage, Solo Amazon over there. It's up about, I think this was last week, about $110,000. Wiz, every Monday at 2 o'clock, I can't be there. Guess what? 80% of our members work and don't attend. I send a time-sensitive text and email alert. So when I'm in a live trade brief, if I see an Amazon trade, I copy, paste it into my text and email system, and it fires immediately. So you could be sitting there at death by work, and all of a sudden you're going to get a text, right? There's a screenshot from my cell phone of a text alert, Solo Amazon, new bear call spread on XLY. And the email actually goes out with a screenshot of the trade and the metrics of the trade, okay? What the risk is, what I'm doing, all that type of stuff, okay? And the replay is posted about 30 minutes after I conclude the brief. And it's called a brief, folks. It's not called a long, right? It's called a brief. So I post the replay at about 30 minutes after the brief, okay? Here's what I'm going to do today, because Raleigh and the team over there, I've been partners with them for a long time. I think great Americans. So I'm going to throw in your flight manual and your proprietary materials that you need, primary, intermediate, and advanced workbooks. Now, for all the political science majors out there and Navy guys like me, let me help you out with math. If you went to my website right now and wanted to buy those 3 manuals, they're $197. So let's do the math real quick. if the manuals are $197, but I'm only paying $97 for a month, you got it. There's $100 essentially in your pocket. That's what my marketing team calls, it's an irresistible offer. I'm like, okay, that seems upside down, but again, I'm a political science guy. So essentially you're making $100 right out of the gate here. So here's what you get: access to the solo Amazon brief every Monday at 2 Eastern, the text and email alerts, the 3 skill-based manuals, and access to our members only ready room. Parmar, 200 grand in Amazon on 20 contracts. Kevin, Amazon, synthetic stock, late to enter, up 200%. He paid 8, it was up at 24. There's a ton of other folks down there doing some good work, up 500%, 26 grand, 145 grand. Just Diane, one contract up $70,000. Wiz up 20 in 2, I guess September 2nd, and I'm October. I have never been there. Patience, persistence, thanks TGO. And I'll tell you what, if you do an annual membership today, I'll go ahead and throw in a 25% discount. Let me go show you, and I think Raleigh's hooking me up with the links in the chat box there. So here's it's kind of easy to remember, topgunoptions.com/solo-amazon-monthly. Okay, and then the annual is just, it's right there, solo annual. Okay. Yeah, I'll leave this page up for you here. Good questions. How much do I need to start? What's the realistic minimum? Again, I don't give investment advice. Those questions are best reserved for a registered investment advisor, broker dealer. But most brokerage firms allow you to open an account with $1,000. Like I use E-Trade as my training platform because I like it. And I think it's $1,000 to open an account, maybe like $2,000 to have a margin account. So thanks, Profit Club. I appreciate that. Plasma. Oh man, I have to join. Good. I'm all in, Matt. My dad, brother, me, all vets. Dad and I think like you. My brother, we don't get it. So I used to say politics are not spoken when we're in the same room. I love everybody in this country, man, or I wouldn't have put the uniform on to defend it. Sorry for the insults, bad choice. Thank you for your service. Ignore the idiots. Okay, I'm not going to read all that. I appreciate it, folks. I just the hate and vitriol needs to go. I disagree with people's politics. Patrick Henry, man, or again, I might not agree with you, but I wore a uniform to protect that freedom of speech. I think people, pretentious NFL players kneeling for the national anthem is a disgrace, but guess what? I wore a uniform so they could kneel for the national anthem. We can talk about it over a beer. I'm the one that's going to go fight and put on a uniform to defend their right to do that type of stuff. I might not agree with you, but at the end of the day, man, we're all Americans, and I think we need to remember that. I think some Americans need retraining on what it means to be an American. Plasma, is 25 grand enough to start? I know Amazon calls are thousands of dollars. Well, so Plasma, remember, let's real quick before I throw it back to Raleigh here in a couple minutes, XLY is cheaper. It's $150 ETF. So a lot of people, Plasma, when they start the solo Amazon service, they trade XLY for a while, build up a nice little war chest, and then jump. I love getting the emails from people like, hey, man, I started just trading the XLY trades that you did, build up enough, ammo, and now I'm doing the Amazon. So you're right. One contract ain't cheap with Amazon. So that's why we trade both. Well, we trade both. Yeah, that's why we trade both because Amazon ain't cheap. That makes sense?
Absolutely. I tell you what, Matt, one question that I've got, what the heck did you order for $100 for 2 drinks? And did you have a protective put?
Yeah, exactly. I needed some Depends. Now, South Florida is a different world, man. Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, I'm a 1992 guy. I like my tequila. So it was like $57 for each. So yeah, and that's another reason. That's another reason I prefer staying at home with kids and laying on the couch, man. So, cool. Dennis, hail to us vets. I was USS Oxford, listening electronically, quietly. Awesome. Thank you for your service, Dennis. So, Raleigh, I appreciate it, man. Great event. I'm actually going to, in between the rest of my briefs today, I'm probably going to stay logged in or at least listen to the rest of the presenters, because you got an all-star group of folks and some great Americans. So thanks for having me, especially on this Veterans Day. Again, thanks to all the veterans on here who served and put the uniform on and remembered the people on the tip of the spear today. So thanks for having me, Raleigh, and ladies, I appreciate it.
Well, Matt, thank you once again for your time and for kicking things off today on this Veterans Day. And folks, we knew when the topic is presidential profits, trading and leveraging the electric cycle, there is still a lot that needs to be determined about this election, and it all is having an impact on the market. So we're privileged to have people like Matt and our other speakers today that are going to go out on a limb a little bit and tell you what they think could happen depending on how things finalize themselves. So forget your politics and just focus on the fact that these are pros that are trying to figure out how to leverage the markets as best they can based on what they see happening or what could happen. And Matt, I think you did a hell of a job, kicking us off that way.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Happy Veterans Day. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
We'll
So once again, Matt Buckley with Top Gun Options, folks. His offer is the solo Amazon monthly membership. And we posted a couple of links there, but if you go to westmarktrading.com/M11.Amazon, it's going to take you right there, and you can take advantage of the special offer that Matt has extended to us today. And so here we are at the top of the hour, and, you know, we do something special every top of the hour. What is that, ladies? Remind me what happens here.
Oh, that's right. We do quiz time.
We love quiz time. It's a lot of fun. And remember the rules. The first person to completely answer the full answer correctly, our moderators are watching both Q&A and chat, and they inform us who came up first with the correct answer. Raleigh, what is our quiz? Which president's campaign slogan was, "Vote yourself a farm"? For $100 Amazon gift card.
And we have our music.
I love the music. We're seeing a few come across, but I believe you may have a correct answer. All right. Raleigh, we have a winner. The correct winner is Debbie Chuh, Chueh. Debbie, if you will just put a note into our moderators.
Put your email in. Mm-hmm.
Answer is Abraham Lincoln, free homesteads for settling the Western frontier.
Nice.
Wild.
I mean, how crazy is that to run for president and say, if you vote for me, I'm going to give you a farm
That's
on
pretty
the Western frontier.
Really? That's happy voting.
Wow. That's amazing.